Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas. Normally I say you're sleep-deprived host, but today I actually slept well. I am in Chicago right now at SIR, the Society of Insurance Researchers. It is May 5th. So while the rest of insurance is here in Chicago at RIMS, I am at the 250 People Society of Insurance Researchers. First time I'm at this conference. It's actually been really good. And I am wearing, for the first time ever, the Insurance is Not That Complicated shirt by Margot Giles of Iris. Thank you, Margot, for the shirt. It doesn't even say Iris. And today I have with me Paul Drake, founder at Adventus AI. Paul, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Thank you, Tony. Really great to meet you. Really great to chat. It's been a really good day so far. I'm
Awesome, awesome.
excited to jump in, man.
Awesome, awesome, man. And lately I've been wearing the top hat for podcasts. Before I never did. Today I'm not, because when I'm at a conference, the top hat plays a multifunction. It's holding up the laptop so that I have a decent angle so that it's not looking up my nose. Uh, all right, all right, all right. So Paul, according to LinkedIn, you are in Greenville, South Carolina, not far from my home base of Atlanta, Georgia.
Not at
Uh,
all.
and so Greenville, South Carolina, May 5th. It's either beautiful or it is already the pit of it is already fiery southern summer.
Swamp weather.
Uh,
No, look. I lived in Charleston, South Carolina for 7 years, and I remember days where I could swim to my car. But Greenville, because the humidity was so bad. For
okay.
those who've lived in Houston or Charleston, South Carolina, or the coast in Florida, it's terrible humidity. But here in Greenville, it's paradise. And I'm a little hesitant to talk too much about Greenville because I don't want too many people moving here.
All
But
right.
Greenville, we're in the foothills, right? So we get some of the mountain weather, some of the mountain air, and a little bit of the heat, but we're talking maybe mid 80s,
Really.
very mild humidity.
And
So
not
Tony,
nearly as humid.
no, come up here, man. There's 100 waterfalls within an hour drive of Greenville.
It,
Top-notch food,
so
great vibes.
soon I am going to, I think next month, I am going to InsurTech Carolinas, which will be in Raleigh.
Yeah.
Uh, is there such a thing as InsurTech South Carolina? Or anyway, if there is any such organization, keep me posted. I would love to come up for an event.
Will do. I
Um,
found out, I don't know if you know Mick Hunt. He lives here in Greenville too. So Mick can tell you
okay.
he's a sales coach. He can tell you all about Greenville too. We're trying to keep a little bit on our wraps, but like I
Okay.
said, I don't want too many people moving here. It's paradise.
Okay. Awesome. 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 So we always give the chance for the guests to give the elevator pitch. What is Adventus AI?
Ventus AI is a way by which commercial and personal lines and producers that are writing a lot of property risks can put together the most complete submission that wins with an underwriter. And one of the ways we do this, and the primary means by which we do this, is by using AI to in multiple different sources online, scanning permit data, scanning unstructured text documents to extract property information about a particular property, whether it be a residential home, or most recently, we've been focusing a lot on multifamily apartment complexes to pull together all this information and then into one particular view. So is the way that it works right now for a lot of insurance agents is they have to go and do this research manually. Adventus does it automatically for them so they can put together a winning submission, whether it be an SOV, an accord form, or any other form of submission. So that's kind of the long short of it. There's a lot of details to it, but our goal is to help take the process of putting together a property submission and make it as short as possible and as easy as possible.
All right, all right. So that you were speaking fast and furious there, and I was taking notes fast and furious, and my laptop is elevated on the top hat right now, right? I'm
I
in a
can't
little
believe that it's on the
couch.
top hat. That's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So okay. So it's a way by which let's kind of like digest it. It's a way by which
Yes.
commercial and personal lines producers can put together the most complete submission that actually gets written by underwriting, that underwriting actually wants to do, that has data. I can't remember how you said it.
Yes, yes. We want them to put together complete submissions and we want them to win. So that's kind of the two
That helps them win.
guiding points for us, right? Is
Perfect.
complete submission will get you the data you want, and then winning, we're going to help you put that together in such a way that you can win with the underwriter and that they
Perfect.
prefer you over the other submissions.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so you use AI. By the way, nowadays, I should take a shot every time somebody says AI on the podcast.
You'd
Be,
be you'd be plastered.
exactly, because every insurtech is an AI company nowadays. So I'm always trying to dig into what that actually means. Okay, so in your case, you're using AI to extract the information on homes and even multifamily complexes. Uh,
Yes,
that historically agents have had to do this research themselves manually, which takes
manually.
forever with no idea on right. And of course, I don't have to explain to the listeners, but maybe to the underwriters. Agents don't get paid unless they write it with somebody, right?
Yes,
So that time is unpaid time until that becomes a placement, right? So
yes.
okay. And I found it really interesting. All this data that you collect for them and you help them put together, you can print it out on an Accord or whatever form that carrier needs.
Yes, right now we do Accords, we do SOVs, but the goal is to do integrations with submission platforms to then push that data in.
Perfect.
Systems like I'm a big fan of what Gaia does, being able to push the data into Gaia eventually. I've been talking
They've
to
been on the
folks there.
podcast.
They're phenomenal. I one of my favorite insure techs out there right now. Other systems to be able to push this data into those systems, but obviously it depends on the type of market you're going after and how they receive the submission.
All right.
For us, the focus right now is predominantly on the E&S markets with multifamily apartment complexes. Those are extremely laborious properties to put together a submission. And to your point, I actually really like that you brought this up. You're not getting paid to do this research. You're not getting paid to get together this information. So the longer this takes you, the more laborious this is, the more of a risk it is for you. And I've talked to some folks
Mhm.
at small agencies that just cannot take on these types of
That
accounts
is so
because
true.
it's too much of a risk. It's too much of a risk for them because what if the property owner goes somewhere else with that business?
Yeah, the amount of work that it requires is too risky for a small agency. Yeah, the Aons, the Marsh, the Gallaghers of the world can take a big risk like that uh, because I swear I have a cell phone somewhere. Here can take a risk like that because they're diversified
Yes,
over many
of
producers.
course. Of
But
course.
if you are a shop of two producers, you can't dedicate a week uh to hunt down information for a hard to place account, regardless of how
Of course.
profitable it might be.
Well, Tony,
Uh,
I'll actually push back because I have friends at USI that
mhm.
have turned down submissions that are property submissions because even they don't have the bandwidth to do these particular
Yeah,
accounts.
any individual producer doesn't. The
Yes.
overall USI,
Of course, USI is going to take that all day long, but it's
yeah,
like, how do we empower the producer to say, yes, it's not as much of a pain to put together the submission, and then how do we enable them to win with by putting together the most complete submission possible?
fantastic. Why is it entirely focused on property? At least for now.
You know what? I stumbled in, I'm going to give you a little bit of background here. I stumbled
Perfect.
into this particular problem. I was working with an agency. I've been in software 15 years. I got into insurance and insured tech as the director of product 4 years ago. And we were an MGA and brokerage. So we were building APIs for embedded insurance. That was the big hot topic was embedded insurance. We were doing embedded insurance with a D&O product and a builder's risk product. And along the way, I really learned the value, especially for producers, of being able to pre-fill data. Pre-fill data is a big important thing. It's something that producers, I always joke about this. An engineer, I've worked with engineers my whole life, my whole career. An engineer will climb over a mountain of broken glass just to make sure they never have to do the same thing twice. Whereas an insurance producer will climb over mountains of broken glass multiple times to make sure that their prospect doesn't have to enter the same data twice.
That is
Right. So it's
fantastic.
it's it's like this insane dichotomy in my world where I'm introduced now to insurance where data matters and customer experience matters. And so I left Shirley, the company I was working at, and I started to work with agencies because I was highly convinced that AI was going to be a tremendous impact to this industry. And I
Mm-hmm.
was working with an agency out of LA, and all he was doing was restaurants. And what we did is we built these bots that essentially would go out and find unstructured data about the restaurant to pre-fill his application form, this 136 question intake form for all of his lines that he was writing. We would be able to pre-fill about 60% of that. And a big piece of that was property information, was COPE information. So what we ended up doing, or what I ended up doing was spinning that out as its own thing. And the more I talk to producers, the more I realize what we know I mentioned earlier. It's so risky to take on large property counts. If you're doing onesie, twosies, that's fine. But if you're doing a lot of property, this is extremely time consuming endeavor. And then, especially in today's market, the data matters, and underwriters care to know when was
Mm-hmm.
the roof updated? When was the heating, the electrical, and the plumbing? Does this building have sprinklers? There's some really important pieces of data that even as much research as they can't do, the producer just can't find this information. So I partner with a company that all they do is building permit data. And I've embedded that into this tool so that AI is analyzing thousands of building permits to answer questions like when was the electrical, the heating, the plumbing, and the roofing updated. And when I did started doing that and building that into this tool, it made a tremendous impact on the conversations I was having with insurance agencies and producers. And lo and behold, I kind of fell into this problem and I became extremely passionate about focusing predominantly on property insurance, just given the fact that it's just such an acute pain point. And this is something that, especially with the hard market, it's becoming more and more laborious. There's a high demand, but it's becoming more and more laborious to meet the demand.
So you said the keyword hard market. So
Yes.
I have to embody my best loss ratio. And go hard market.
Oh,
Uh,
phenomenal, phenomenal.
uh, Curtis, the man. All right. His ITC video from 2 years ago what was he had like 35 of us let's call it insurance influencers say the hard market, and he put it all in the video and mine had fire on it. All right. So yes, I agree with everything you said. So your okay. Okay, so looking at your website,
Yeah.
uh delegate research to AI. We'll do all the research for you in mere minutes. Enter the address, whether it's commercial or residential. Within 2 minutes, AI gives you publicly available COPE data,
Yep.
and that's capital COPE. Uh, and then I found number three very interesting: human quality review. So the team immediately reviews the report to ensure that all available data has been collected and is accurate. I have interviewed maybe 100 AI companies in the last year, maybe more than
Yes.
that. Uh, and I think you're the first ones that have this AI piece, this human in the loop piece,
Yes.
and you're actively marketing that as one of the value adds. So why is that human in the loop piece so important in our world of insurance?
So I can sleep at night.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah,
I
so look, man, I'm gonna be upfront with you because I run a podcast about AI and insurance, and I'm very bullish on AI, but I'm also really bullish on, let's be honest, about
what
what AI
what
can and cannot do.
what is the podcast? What is the name?
The podcast is called The Advent of AI, and I'm primarily focused
Perfect.
on talking to those AI founders,
Okay.
AI insurtech founders, because what I really want to do is I want to break down what is AI actually good at and what is it not good at. Now, here's the thing. AI is like a really intelligent employee, but it's just like a human in the fact that it's not 100% reliable. And at the end of the day, what I really want to provide for my customers is not just data, but reliable data. And so I introduced this concept of this human in the loop into my services as a way of trying to and to tell you, hey, look, we're not just letting AI, throwing AI at the problem. It's accurate 90% of the time, but that 10%, we still have someone who can look over that piece of information, make sure it looks correct, and then correct that for you so that you have confidence that the data that you're getting is as accurate and reviewed, and it's not on you to have to do that work. So this is where I think a lot of AI insurtechs the more honesty that we can provide, the better. And the more that we can say, look, there's limitations to AI right now. It still needs some oversight. It shouldn't be trusted 100%. It's miraculous at times and it's inconsistent in others. There will need to be, for the foreseeable future, an AI kind of oversight by someone, a human in the loop. And so that's kind of one of the things I've just been saying that in a lot of my calls with customers. It's like, look, this is what we do to provide you. So you know that at the end of the day, no one cares about AI, Tony. Nobody cares about AI.
It's like
What they care about
blockchain.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like blockchain. What they care about is, are you getting me my data fast? Do
Yeah.
you have data? Can you get it to me fast? Can you help me make me, this process not feel like pulling teeth just to find all this information and go to 20 different sites? Can you help me put together an SOV for building a property with 20 buildings on it? Like that's all they care about. So I'm going to tell you I'm going to use AI, but at the end of the day, we have a backup plan, which is a team of highly trained VAs that all they do is this. They've been doing this for years. They understand how to do this. They understand all the nuances of property research, and they can vet each report that's generated to make sure you're getting accurate data.
Fantastic. The whole AI is sometimes miraculous. Sometimes you want to rip your hair out. I don't know if you put it that way. You put the and
Yeah, yeah.
so my own story is really interesting. So I started college in computer science. I'm a big techie, and I wanted to do AI, but back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Turns out that if you can't do math, you'll never graduate with a degree in computer science. And this was so I missed the dot com. I missed the Y2K. I started school in '02, and I finished in '06. So back in that time, what we were learning was really like how to be corporate developers, COBOL, that kind of crap. And it was boring, and I hated the math. I ended up in business instead. Uh, if I had come in a few years later, I might have ended up as an app developer, and much more interesting. And nowadays, and I always had an interest in AI. Nowadays, the AI thing is super super fascinating. So 2 years ago, I played a little bit on ChatGPT. I did the whole like, who is Tony Cañas? Who is Rene Bruns? Right? And like tell me what insurance earns is about. We talked about insurance careers, and I was very impressed at how much it quoted me in the conversation about insurance careers and how much it was right. And then I did not touch it at all in 2024. I interviewed a bunch of AI companies in
Wow.
2024, but
Wow, Tony.
my business partner who runs operations for the recruiting firm uses it a lot. I didn't. And then earlier this year, just a few weeks ago, I started playing with it again in order to so this little announcement, right? I used this for a contest. Basically, I posted it and I said, whoever can guess what my announcement is, I posted it on a Monday. Whoever can guess what my announcement is by Friday gets entered into a drawing, right? And it was that I was going to magic school. That was the announcement, right? And so it's me receiving my letter from Hogwarts, and the city in the background is Vegas. Lots of people said Seattle. Seattle doesn't have a pyramid. Okay. So anyway, with a little bit of Googling, people can find Jeff McBride School of Magic and Mystery. 10 people figured it out. Several people submitted wrong answers. And I ended up becoming obsessed with this and creating 200 different versions of this little graphic. Okay. With different styles of anime and drawings. Okay. Then at Magic School, I used AI. So I'm a big selfie guy. I've been a big selfie guy for a long time. And at Magic School, I basically took selfies of myself with every student and every faculty member. That's 21 people. And I used ChatGPT to turn those into like really fun drawings, and then I printed them at a CVS every morning, and I like handed them to people in a magical way. And now I'm doing that on insurance conferences, and everybody loved it. Okay, but this is a
So
kind of a
cool.
long story. But what I have learned is exactly what you said. Sometimes it's miraculous. Example. Okay, my sister-in-law, my girlfriend and my sister-in-law are currently touring Africa. My girlfriend's a big traveler. And they had been off the grid for a couple of days, and finally Julie, my sister-in-law, messages the family and had a grammatical error in the message. So basically she said something like we're doing fine, we're alive, I'm the desert, and then finish the sentence. And really, what you want to say is I am in the
Oh, I
desert,
know this. I know
and
where
it's
this is going. Yeah.
right. So I immediately grabbed her. I was on the plane here to Chicago yesterday. Immediately grabbed her LinkedIn profile photo, and I produced this version of it in 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds, right? A
Yes. Yes.
beautiful rendering of Julie from her profile photo in Mykonos, or no, in whatever the little town, the blue town is
Yes.
it, and then that again 30 seconds I was able to create this hilarious image of I am one with the desert, right? Okay.
Yes. That's what I was hoping you would
Yeah.
do.
So 30 seconds. It worked beautifully. Okay. Other times I have fought for 45 minutes with ChatGPT,
Bingo.
trying to
Bingo.
convince them to convince ChatGPT that I'm a guy, even though I have long hair, because it'll convert me into a woman, or convince ChatGPT that it should only put a red top hat and glasses on me, not on other people that are in the picture. Or you will notice that I don't have heart shaped glasses here because
I'm a little disappointed.
regardless of how much I fought with it,
Yes.
quite simply,
Yes.
it would not give in. Okay, so yes, at times it's miraculous, and I have now learned this by playing with it, right? So like actually playing with
But
it is very
imagine, Tony, this is, I'm so glad you're getting this firsthand experience. You're not trying to develop an app.
correct.
You also asked me about why I'm just doing property insurance. It's because I actually am highly skeptical of these apps that are what I call generalist apps. The amount of work that it takes to get consistent outputs. It's like sitting with an employee. You don't know where they're going to screw up. You don't know where they're going to make mistakes. You just have to try a million things.
When I
So if
was
you want really consistent outputs, you have to be very, very precise and very prescriptive in what you're looking for.
when I was in college and still a comp sci major, so first and second semester, like comp sci 101 kind of thing. I think it was called comp sci 217. And I remember Owen, I was the guy who taught that at Iowa State. Dr. Owen, uh, gigantic class, 300 students. I remember Dr. Owen saying, uh, to err is human, to truly foobar a situation, to truly screw it up beyond all recognition takes a computer. Uh,
Yeah.
and I thought it was very funny. With AI, you get to truly see like the
Yes.
level
Yes.
at which
Yes.
so yes, I have asked the question many times of the question I used to ask 2 years ago was how do you make sure that it doesn't hallucinate, because what we're doing in insurance is important, right?
Yes.
And like we can't have AI hallucinating cases that were not real cases, or hallucinating coverages that were not real coverages, or
Uh-huh.
right. And different people I've interviewed have had different answers on how they're dealing with that. I think that playing with AR for my own entertainment is with AI for my own entertainment is making me a much better interviewer when it comes to because yes, what we do is that, like going back to your world, getting that data right on that Accord application matters, right?
Of course.
If it's not right, you might not be able to write the business, or even worse, if it's not right, you might write the business and then have it declined at the time of loss.
Or yes, yes, that's what I was going to say. At the point of a claim event, the data is inaccurate, the data is wrong.
So
And so
it has to be right.
it does. It does. And here's the beautiful thing, right? Is by focusing on one particular problem, my goal is to build the best tool by which property information can be obtained and
Beautiful.
then processed. And so we're seeing, and my kind of my thought on where all this is going with AI is I'm really bullish on those that are making these small specialized pieces that
I
handle one or
agree.
particular piece. Because at some point there's going to be an aggregator that's going to come along and assemble all these pieces together into a very cohesive whole. Again, there may be companies out there that are really crushing it with generalist tools, but those that are specialized and focused on one particular thing, I'm gonna have a little bit more trust in their output, just given the nature of AI.
I agree.
Look, I've been working on this for the last 6 months. I've learned a significant amount about where AI is good and where AI is not. And so at the end of the day, I want to serve customers and provide a value for them. I don't want to give flash AI And then at the end of the day, the output is not 100% where I want it to be. So
So
that's
so
why the human in the loop.
right. So that makes perfect sense to me. Um, I'm always curious on the origin story. So how did you get the idea that this was needed in the property insurance
Yeah.
market?
So the as far as the origin, like I mentioned earlier, I was working with this agency out of LA, and we were pre-filling application forms, and it was really fascinating talking about some of the magic of AI. When we were able to feed the AI, we were able to feed it menus, Google reviews of the restaurant to answer basic questions like, "What type of cooking did I do?" Essentially, are they going to burn down the place or not, right? Are they cooking with a lot of, fried food? They're going to burn down the place. That's the kind of questions we were trying to get at. And so it would analyze the menu to look at items on the menu and say, oh, charboiled hamburgers, probably cooking with charbroil. Oh, this is wok. They're using a wok. So yeah, more than likely they're cooking with a wok. And then I'll never forget the moment when I discovered how I was a guy in my early 20s at one point, and I remember you go to these restaurants and then at 10 p.m. it becomes a nightclub. Well, that's not on the website, but like especially for some reason sushi restaurants, that was the places that would turn into these nightclubs, right?
So
And
random.
so
Okay.
I thought it's so random, but I thought, what if I could just pull in Google reviews and Yelp reviews and see if anyone's bitching about the bouncers? Lo and behold, here you go. Here's somebody complaining about the bouncers in the Google reviews or Yelp reviews of a restaurant. So that was pretty magical, and it just made me realize like there's a lot of work that goes into actually pre-filling these submission application forms, and there's so much intentional work that has to be done to make the experience better for the insured. So when I moved on as a part of the large swath of information I was getting for this agency, COPE information came up, and I had another conversation with a guy named Jake Nystrom, who's out of Fargo. And Jake has a small agency. And I remember him talking about how he had to turn down some large property accounts because he's dealing with 50, 60 different properties. And for each one of these properties, he's having to get this information. So it becomes a combinatorial problem where you have so many different properties and you have so many different data points that you have to pre-fill. And the property owner has this expectation, I'm going to give you an address and you're just going to go take care of it.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And look, I'm a software person. I'm a product person by heart. So I'm driven towards pain. If the more painful something seems, the more valuable it is to me because
I'm
I want to
driven
solve problems.
towards pain. Okay.
Yes, I'm.
Uh,
I probably should get that tattooed at some point. So anyway,
uh, I
so
was going to
I
suggest
remember.
therapy.
That's a different kind of pain, Tony. Different kind of pain. It's more of an empathetic thing. So. I realized in talking to him and then talking to other folks that, you know what, if you're doing small single family homes, you're doing one or two properties a week, not a big pain. But the more I've gotten into this, the more that I realize the agency is doing a large volume of properties. This is something that adds up. You talk to account managers that are typically doing this work. It's taking them a significant amount of time. They're going to five, six, seven, eight different websites just to find information, cobble it all together. And then you want to talk about real pain. This is something I'm very passionate about. It's multifamily properties. There's a lot of folks out there that are doing multifamily properties or properties with multiple buildings. And I just became very drawn to wanting to solve the problem for them. So the origin story to come back around is like, look, hey, how can we help you with pre-fill using AI technology to scan the web, looking for unstructured data to get this information, and then just talking to more and more people about property and following those conversations, it became clear that this is a painful thing at varying degrees. It's a painful thing. So I'm excited to talk about it. Tony, I haven't really talked about this too much, but I'm excited about talk about something in particular. One, I mentioned multifamily apartment complexes. And the thing that we're about to release here soon, I think is extremely, extremely exciting. It's the ability for you to put in the address of a multifamily apartment complex or really any build property with multiple buildings. And what we've built is technology that will analyze satellite imagery and parcel data to detect all of the buildings on the property, automatically outline the shape of each building to calculate the square footage, and then pull in basic COPE details. So you can have an apartment complex with 40 different buildings and within 3 minutes have a basic beginnings of an SOV. Not only that, but you can send a link to the property owner where they're going to be able to see their property on a satellite view, outlines of all the buildings, click on each building and fill in the missing pieces instead of having to go back and forth between the SOV spreadsheet and some sort of hokey, satellite photo that you've drawn on top of with the numbers of the buildings. So we're trying to build more and more features like that to streamline the process for the more painful use cases, such as multifamily properties. Now that we have a pretty solid process that's reliable to get some of this basic COPE data in there, how do we enable you to get an SOV off the ground and then share this with the property owner in such a way that they can give you give you the data in the most effective and user-friendly way.
Fantastic. What is the implementation like? Does it plug into my Epic or Vertafore or Hawksoft, or does it have to?
I that is coming. That is coming. No,
Okay,
currently right now it is you can export the data to an SOV, you can export the data to an Accord form and upload it to your system, but it's
perfect.
very easy to get started. Unlimited number of users, hop in, it's a property portal, you put in an address, it spits out the information into a page for you, it's organized for you in such a way that's just easy to consume. You can copy the data out of there. But then the next step is going to be how do we integrate this with the different systems that people use today so that there's not double entry? Because if there's
What
anything I hate, it's double entry.
what is the pricing like?
Pricing right now is pretty simple. We're currently working with single family homes and commercial buildings. It's $7 per report. And then once we start to do a big push on multifamily properties, I don't have the pricing on that yet, but that's coming soon.
Okay.
But once you start getting properties with multiple buildings, the price will go up. But we're also looking at subscription options. Tony, we're still pretty early, man. I was in a design
Yeah,
phase in the first couple of
I
months of the year, and
I
then now we're monetizing. So I'm just like,
I
I'm
I
excited to be solving this problem.
I want to point out, according to LinkedIn, you've been at this for 8 months. But at
Yeah,
the same time, I also want to point out that you did do a 3.5 year stint at another insurtech. I don't know if we can mention the name of that one. From my
yeah,
perspective, we
yeah,
can. So, so,
yeah.
so, so, 3.5 years at Assuredly. So you're not
Yes.
new to our world.
No, no.
This is your second dance at least. In in
Yes.
in in bringing top of the line technology or bleeding edge technology to solve issues in the insurance world. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so we talked implementation, we talked origin story, we talked pricing. I'm trying to think. I need my coffee. I'm trying to think what else is like kind of the normal conversation. Future features. So we are recording on May 5th. What
Yes.
is on the development pipeline that you can go ahead and share with us, taking into account that this episode will likely come out late May?
Yes. As I mentioned already, and by the time you all out there are listening to this episode, we will most likely have the ability for you to put in a property with multiple buildings, and we do what I'm calling automated building detection, where it can find all the buildings on the property, create a record of each building, pull in data for each building, and then analyze the square footage to get you square footage. Once we've done that, then the next phase is how can we get this information into the hands of a property owner so the property owner can look it over, confirm it's correct, fill in the missing details in a very
Fan-
easy and intuitive way. And then I
Fantastic.
think after that, Tony, and that should be ready by the end of May. And then I think after that, a big push is going to be around integrations. We have a lot of customers that are very excited about Epic and really want to push to Epic. So I think that's at the top of our list. And then beyond that, it's going to be other integrations with tools. Would love to integrate with the tool like Gaia. Would love to be able to integrate with other tools like that aid the submission process so that Adventus is kind of the source of truth for a lot of this property information, and it's the way to gather this property information and organize it. But then you can pass it off to other tools that are enabling you to speed up the application process.
All right. All right. All right. I always love getting insurtechs on who are very early stage, because it's awesome to like get the feel for it early on. This one intuitively makes sense to me. I've never been a producer, but intuitively makes sense to me why this is important and why this would be helpful. Uh, and it's been super interesting. I look forward to have you back in a year or two.
Appreciate it, Tony. Yeah.
Once this is fully deployed at a bunch of brokerages, I would love to have you back to maybe you and a client right, you and like somebody from a brokerage about how the tool has evolved and how it has changed their life. Uh, but yeah, thank you for coming on
Thank you, Tony.
so early in the life of Adventus. By the way, the name, what is Adventus? How do you come up with the name?
So I caught myself saying, the advent of AI. I kept saying that, like advent of AI. Well, the advent of AI, this is now possible, and so then I'm also a Catholic, and so I was in the season. I was coming up to the season of Advent, and the Catholic Church is a ton of Latin used a lot. It's a kind of the language of the church, and so I thought, okay, what's the Latin word? Well, it's Adventus, and and I'm not one to sit around and think too hard about something. So I thought,
All
let's go
right.
with it. Let's ship it. Let's
We
go.
we are recording on May 5th. I grew up in Costa Rica in a very Catholic family. I'm not actively Catholic today, but I do find the religion very interesting, and I did very much like Pope Francisco to be exact, because he was Argentinian.
Yep.
So as we are recording, Pope Francis passed away about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And conclave is starting, I don't know, today or tomorrow.
Starting in a
So,
couple of days. Yes. Yes.
so, oh my God, this is such a fun question. So this is two separate
What's my
questions.
bet? Who
Okay,
do I think is gonna win?
so yes, Paul,
The
what is
Pope
your bet
draft.
on who the and hopefully like the Pope will be the Pope, the new Pope will be the Pope once this episode comes out.
Yes.
So what is your best guess? As let's start there. What is your best guess? Have you like paid attention to the candidates?
There's a video, Tony, I'm going to send you. There's a video of a comedian. They made it. It was the Pope draft, and it was like the NFL draft for popes. It's one of the funniest things I've seen in
Do
a while.
do
It's
do send me
brilliant,
that.
brilliant.
Uh,
As far as my bet, look, I don't know too much about
you're
the
you're like
candidates.
mom's gonna yell at me if I try to guess. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm a convert.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is my first papal conclave. I've never been through this
Oh,
before. This is exciting for me,
it
right?
is very. I'm a former Catholic, and it's exciting for me. I have
It's
lost.
so intriguing.
Uh,
It's
I
so intriguing. Like
I
because the weight of the world, truly, they have to attend to people in all different cultures, all different backgrounds. They have to please
I
everybody. They have to.
I have been I have been disappointed with every conclave in my life, with the exception. Well, the one from John Paul the First to John Paul the Second, I was too young, but John Paul the Second lasted a long time, right? So I was
Yes.
late college for Benedict, and but anyway, like, every conclave. I'm always disappointed because I always want the most liberal, the most third world, the most like DEI candidate to win, and they never do. Francis was an amazing pope, an absolutely amazing pope. And I lived in Argentina for a year, just last year, and we go back in April, and he is beloved in Argentina,
Oh yeah, I bet. I bet. He's
and
very Argentinian in his mannerisms and the way that he led.
there's a video that made the rounds I'm from Costa Rica originally. There's a video that made the rounds in the WhatsApp circles in Costa Rica, where a Costa Rican approaches the Pope. This is like 6 or 7 years ago, and says, uh, uh, Padre, the Pope, Papa, in Spanish. What do you think of Costa Rica? And the Pope replies, El mejor café del mundo, the best coffee in the world. So it made the rounds all over the Costa Rican news, and
Oh,
uh,
I bet everyone freaked out. Well, okay, I'll tell you my pick real quick.
okay,
There's the patriarch of Jerusalem is a cardinal named Pizzaballa.
okay.
And I don't know much about him other than one, when October 7th happened, he offered himself in exchange for the Israeli captives. He offered
I
himself
did not
as an
know that.
exchange
Okay,
for the Israeli captives, and I don't think that Hamas took him up on that offer, but it was
uh-huh.
certainly a very tremendous effort.
That is exactly that's
It's
fantastic.
it's tremendous leadership, right? And
Yeah.
then but then Tony, I know you know this, they have to change the name, but what if he didn't change his name? And what if he was Pope Pizza? That to me, that's kind of why I'm rooting for Pope
Oh,
Pizza or the
oh,
Pizza Pope.
oh my God,
So
Kev, if if Pope Pizza gets the job, even if he doesn't choose the name Pizza, I will totally buy you dinner at the next conference at ITC or wherever, or InsurTech Insights New York,
pizza for
or
sure, pizza.
of course, of course. Or if you come up to InsurTech Carolinas, you totally should. Uh, uh, I will totally buy dinner. If Pope Pizza not only wins but keeps the name Pizza, I'm flying to Greenville to buy you that pizza. So
That would
anyway,
be amazing. That'd
that
be
would be
amazing.
amazing. Pope Pizza, that'd be fantastic. Okay, there's like
Pizza
60.
Pizza Pope has some better ring to it.
Yeah.
Pizza Pope, you know, always got to go pizza, but yeah.
Uh, there are about 6 people that are in the little conference the room where I am
Yeah.
at the conference. I'm sure at least one of them is Catholic, and I'm sure at least one of them is offended by, because they're not hearing the other side of the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So now the last part of the question: what is AI predicting?
What is AI predicting? Or where do I predict AI will go, or what is AI predicting about
Oh,
itself?
you haven't asked AI
What it predicts for the future, or
for the conclave, like who's going to win the conclave?
oh, for the we're back to the conclave. You know what? I have not asked it. I have not asked
Yeah.
it.
Uh,
I've asked it about a few of the names that I've heard, but I just got lost at Pope Pizza, and
perfect,
I've had a hard time
perfect.
getting past that one.
I'm gonna have to put a content warning on this episode, which I won't remember to do. But hey, last 15 minutes are a discussion of the conclave. All right.
The conclave.
Uh, Paul, thank you so much.
Fantastic talking to you, Tony.
Great episode. Look forward to hang out in person at InsurTech Insights or InsurTech Connect or InsurTech Carolinas. Totally come up to Raleigh for InsurTech Carolinas coming up in a couple of weeks. Great event. Uh, uh, Thank you so much for your time today. Looking forward to have you back on the
Thank you,
podcast.
Tony. Thank you.